Blog Talk Radio.
Another episode of Meeting of the Minds, and this is Lawrence speaking, and with me I have Robert. Robert, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's going on? Feeling good. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm over here just chilling, and personally, man, I'm just thankful to even just be doing this show right now. But
right.
First of all, we want to just let you guys know we were without Mike this week, and unfortunately, we have to send our condolences up to his grandfather, or the death of his grandfather. So we send our condolences to his family.
Yeah, I mean, that's tough, and we were trying to figure out, like, oh, should we do this still? He's like, yeah, we got to keep on rolling. But yeah, most definitely, Mike will be back. But yeah, definitely condolences up to him and his family. But he'll heal fast, and he'll be back soon.
Right, and he was really excited to be, talking about this actual topic again. And we're picking up where we left off last week, which is picking up on doing things with a purpose in life. Last week we spoke on just being able to take that first step and even just trying to identify or plan out what your purpose is. You could be the type of person who's working an 8 to 5 or being a staying-at-home mom or just working a job that you don't want to do, just really wanting to find out what you've been made to do, what you've been born to do in life. And this week we really just want to pick up on taking those first few steps and, common, let's say, fears or common challenges that people face, that we've even faced when we took our first step. And one of my favorite quotes, Robert, I pulled this up because it's just been a quote, that I want to make sure I get the words right. Sometimes I forget things, man.
It's all good.
The quote reads, "The purpose of life is a life of purpose." And that reminds me that, life is a diverse experience. When you understand what guides you, you really just get a better experience with life. So, Rob, how do you feel about, picking up on the subject again this week?
Yeah, it's the thing about purpose is, like your quote said, it's so crucial to be able to find something that when you wake up in the morning, you're excited about. I think purpose is more than just the whole aura of just like, oh, okay, there's something, big and important I'm supposed to be doing, as much as just that personal satisfaction of knowing that you're producing something that is making the world better. When you get up with that sense of purpose, like a sense of this is I'm giving back, I'm putting something on this earth that's gonna outlast me, that's giving people hope, or whatever it is that you're trying to convey, or whatever it is that your purpose is. Purpose is everything. To me, it really is, and I think in order to really live a fulfilling life, purpose has to be at the center of that.
Perfect. And, some people even listening now that maybe not have heard last week's show, we really want to find out what motivates you when you wake up, to even live out that purpose. Like myself, the older I'm getting now, I'm 30 years old, I'm like, okay, I know where I want to be, 5 years from now, but I know where I want to, help my parents out, how I want to, provide this for them, to give back to them. I see that they're getting older,
Right.
And I see, they're watching after their grandkids now. Like, man, that was just me and my siblings. So I look that the family's grown. That motivates me. My 2 sisters, man, I'm the only boy. I'm the last Garmin from my dad, So that motivates me when I wake up, because I can tell you, man, there's even days sometimes throughout this week, even now that I've gotten some things rolling, I wake up and I'm like, man, I got to go to work, or dang, I got to do the show tonight, or dang, but everything that I do when I wake up, I always need to remind myself and to just pray that I stay happy and motivated, because it's not about what I'm doing, it's why I'm doing it and why I've been made to do it. It's waking up with the faith that, man, even when I'm tired, or hey, just knowing that it's going to take a lot of energy and a lot of time and a lot of just effort. Just if you're doing it with the purpose and you know that you just feel like you're doing what is right, that's what motivates me. It reminds me to stay motivated.
Yeah, for me, it's like when I look around and, like, growing up, like I said, as you're getting older, things start looking a little different, and you start, looking around and start realizing, like, okay, how am I going to leave my mark? And for me, that's what it is. Like I said, when I look around and I see, people going to their jobs, 9 to 5, that whole thing, and doing what they got to do to pretty much survive, in my mind, I'm thinking life has got to be more than that, and to me, there's nothing wrong with that, obviously, do what you got to do, but I think what purpose gives me personally is just that quality of life. To me, that's where the quality of life comes in, If everybody's in survival mode all the time, that can get very discouraging, and that, takes a lot of strength from you, and that takes a lot of, I think of just your everyday joy, and to me, that's what purpose gives me. It's that everyday joy, that everyday fulfillment. It allows me to wake up and knowing today is going to be good because I know I'm doing something that I feel is important. That's the great thing about purpose. It's not about it looking important to other people. It's what you feel like is important. And for me personally, that's what that gives me. It allows just a normal Wednesday to be something much more because, like, I wonder what's going to happen today in terms of how I'm going to be able to do what I do and how I have it affect people, and like I wonder who's going to bring me in contact with today. I wonder what, new doors will open for me to meet new people or go new places to be able to serve my particular gift, because to me that's what purpose is. It's serving your particular gifts and talents that, are God-given, and be able to give that back and to see the reaction and see what comes from helping people or, doing what you do best. There's nothing like that. And I think just that fulfillment of helping somebody by doing something that you love to do regardless, there's nothing like it. There really isn't. And it can, like I said, it can make a normal day just, so much more just because of that aspect.
That's great. And I know you mentioned just an example of helping somebody out with something. And that was one thing I wanted to just really make sure I shared today was making sure that I'm aware that I need to be completing good acts of service, throughout the day to people, assisting them with something. It doesn't even have to be monetary. Sometimes you may feel led to do so, but being able to just, help open the door for somebody, just hold it for, stay there and hold it open for the extra 5 seconds if you see somebody's coming in. Being in the actual line at the grocery store and seeing somebody with, 2 items while you got 15, do something kind, let them go. I even just like helping senior citizens in the store, man. But those are just some examples that I am sharing with people when they help, if they need help, even just understanding what purpose is, or just being able to understand how you can go about helping somebody out and making somebody else's day better and reaping the true feeling of just knowing that you're helping somebody. But ultimately, I know right now, Rob, I got this older man, Mr. Harris, at my church, man, and he's up there in age. I want to say he's close to he's in his 80s now, man. Cool, just smooth guy, man. Cadillac driving, got his gold going on, just cool. Hey, brother Larry. Hey, brother Larry. Yeah, brother Larry. Like,
right.
It's cool, man. Like, I think I got him like a shirt and tie for his birthday or for Christmas one year, man. He hooked me up with some Jordans one time. him and his family. But it's not about that, man. It's just, I always felt this connection, like, man, this is like another grandfather for me here right now, right? And he had me wanting me to look out for, and I'm not trying to get into the business, but he wanted me to be a role model for his grandson, in which I was for as long as I could, and he's at the age now, man, where he's really walking with the canes. Somebody goes and brings his car up to the front, after church, and his wife is really sick, and sometimes he'll come without her, and he's like, pray for me, brother, and something, one good thing that I'm really realizing is he's always telling me, call me if you need anything, let me know, and it's like he's reaching out to me to let me know, like, if you need any advice on anything, that's his way of helping me out. I think he sees me as a grandson, so I need to be, I feel, being, raised well from my dad, who just raised me with manners and just overall his military demeanor. He raised me right?
Right.
I feel like I know that I need to be giving him a call throughout the week, and maybe just going and even just bringing them some, a plate from their favorite restaurant, man. Making a grocery run for them, and just small things like that. It's me going out my way, but I can drive to Riverside to make this happen for somebody else. And it's, that's one example of me walking in my true, understanding what purpose is in life, and then providing and walking in the example for people. And this is something I'm going to actually go out and do. And I'll be, mentioning this again, I'm sure, on the next show or a future show.
Right. And one thing I really want to drive in to listeners is that purpose is service. Like, you can't separate the two. Because we don't look at Beyonce and think, well, how is she serving? Well, she is. She's serving her gift. She's serving her music. There's so many women that get so much from her, her songs and her message, and allow them to get more confidence within themselves, or, you can even look at, because obviously we see, like, the big name people, you're talking about, like, even a football player. It's like, well, how's football, purpose? It's like, well, football may be the platform, but the purpose may be, like, one of their charities. I know a football player where, he's a big name football player, but he feels like his purpose is helping people with depression, and he puts a lot of his time and resources into that. And so a lot of the times, like, for me personally, me walking in my purpose is being able to give people information. And to me, a lot of my off time and personal time is spent reading, is spent studying, it's spent talking to people, because I want to get as much information and get enough different perceptions about different issues as I can, because when people come and ask me my opinion, like, I take that seriously, because I feel like that's my purpose. And I'm not just going to give you some fluff or some, basic things that you can get. I want to give you, as realistic, practical, but yet informative piece of advice or information that I can, so that you can make, better decisions for yourself. I realized real early on in life that trying to tell people what to do, is not a good idea. And most people don't want that. But I realized for me personally, the more I learn, the more I grow, the more people I talk to, the more diverse I make myself, the better information I can give. And I believe that's, so fulfilling to me when somebody will come back to me and say, I remember, back when you said this, and I was dealing with the situation, and most of the time it's something I don't even remember saying. And that's the crazy thing about it. Like, a lot of times it happens, I don't remember saying it, but they took something from hearing you speak that allowed them to make a better decision for themselves. And for me, that's everything. And that's what I love about purpose, because that's what it gives you. It gives you just that sense of, yes, I've done what I was supposed to do. And there's no feeling like that. There's no sense of contentment like that. And that's why purpose is so important, because it doesn't show up in any kind of particular way. There's no right thing for you to be feeling like is your purpose. It's just that thing that gives you that contentment. And if you're able to find that, even if you have to work a normal job, but you get to come home and work on your music, a couple hours after work, because that's what you really feel like you're giving back to the world, do it. Because I'm telling you, it's going to make the rest of your day and the rest of your responsibilities and all the things that you have going on just so much different, because you have that sense that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
Perfect. And one key thing that I heard you mention was that, it comes down to just getting that key sense, that key feeling of the feeling, the great feeling of doing what you're supposed to be doing. But
right.
I wanted to go back and really dig into that first step that you took. When you first identified it, even for myself, because we do have people that may be coming from different they're at different points in their life when it comes to purpose. You may have somebody that hasn't identified it. You may have somebody right now listening who hasn't, who's barely identifying it, who is already advanced. But even for some of us who have been in it for a while or even just beginning, no matter what point it is, we all need to be reminded of where we've came from, right? So
right.
When you first learned about purpose, how did that go about for you? And I know that's a pretty... you can answer that question in numerous ways, but share that.
For me personally, I believe the first step, honestly, was my anger, which is kind of a weird answer, but I think that it will help a lot of people, because when I say my anger is that a lot of times you can identify something you're really passionate about by what makes you mad. I remember reading about Mother Teresa, and I remember she was a school teacher at first, and she used to walk to school every day, but every day she walked to school, she would walk by all the poor kids and the people in squalor, and it would just break her heart, and it would make her so mad because she looked at all this suffering, and so she couldn't, or no one was doing anything about it, and it was breaking her heart. And it was kind of on that line. Every time people would come to me and they'd be talking to me about their situations and their struggles, and I'd get mad because, I knew there was something that could be done, but it was the way they were thinking about it that was affecting their outcomes. And to me, I couldn't stand that. There's one thing for things to happen to you that you just straight up have no control over. And there are a lot of things in life that at the end of the day, you just can't do anything about. But what angered me was that it wasn't that people were coming to me who were just, so broken down or so messed up or anything like that. They just didn't know any better. That's all they knew. And so they were always responding to their circumstances and their situations based off of just tradition and history and people who they were around. And it was just you have so much potential, but because of what you don't know, you're just going to continue circling this mountain. And for me, that's really what I realized I was really passionate about, because I didn't have to think about being attracted to wanting to talk to people and start wanting to discuss different ways of going about it, or different things that are different ways to think about it, because, it would always frustrate me so much to see people in so much pain, and not because they were in situations that they couldn't control, but just because of what they didn't know, because they didn't have anybody around them telling them that, no, you're okay, or this is normal, this is just a part of life, or, anything like that. And for me, that's really how it started. And so I would suggest, if you're one of those people right now who, you really have no idea, think about what makes you mad. If you're attracted to music, you're probably always going to recognize somebody who's off key. If you're management and you hate things unorganized and you hate disorganization, that's a key. So what can't you stand? Because usually you're called to fix the thing that you can't stand. And so I would definitely recommend starting there. Just start where you know, and you probably won't, you can't think about it right now. Just keep this in your mind, because I guarantee you, as you go throughout your day, you know, it'll pop up in your head and you'll see something, you'll hear something, and it'll frustrate you. You realize, I think it frustrates me because I care about this, because you don't get mad about stuff you don't care about. So definitely start there. Start figuring out what it is that, you know, you can't stand, you know, and I don't care if it's food. You can always tell when somebody put a little bit too much sugar or not enough sugar. You know, that's a sign, because you know that you care about that, and you know they just did a little bit more here or a little bit less here. You know, it would be perfect. You know, and that's maybe your sign that you need to start making those things. Because I know a lot of people who have made a lot of money by just making cupcakes. You know, but they're giving something back to the world. You know, they're making little kids' birthday parties happy. They're making, you know, people who just want to lay. I mean, purpose is important no matter what it is, because it's giving back. It's providing, you know, quality of life, and that's what it's about.
It's funny with the too much sugar or too little sugar. It made me think that, you know, it reminds me of my childhood when somebody didn't have enough sugar or too much sugar in the Kool-Aid. Man, it was never too much sugar, though. The too much sugar was always great to the other people who normally didn't drink it. I'll leave it at that. But for myself, me identifying my purpose, I can tell you, I always knew what I've been wanting to do. I think you know, you can tell when a child is born, there's something that they're naturally good at. You can just pick up certain characteristics from, you know, babies and children at a young age. And I know for myself, going back and just looking back at maybe around 4 or 5 years old, I never wanted to be a cop. I never wanted to be a, you know, fireman. I like basketball. But I looked up and saw, you know, my dad is a hard worker, so that was something that, you know, I pretty much caught insight on. But my grandfather, which was my mom's father, they said who I got pretty much my frame from, and my height, the voice, the Adam's apple, the what do you call that, the widow's peak. I saw that he owned, you know, what I trim of the widow's peak, low key, but he was a multi-business owner, man. You know, from the liquor store to the car wash, the hair salon, the restaurant. I saw that he operated so many different things, and he would fly out here to come see us, and I'm like, wow, you know. But as I got older, people from my basketball team, man, and I'm still very close to them, but one of them owned the round table that was just hot, man, and then one of them owned the construction company, and he got me on to, you know, the Clippers. Now, I had all this inspiration about me just to become an entrepreneur at this point. And, you know, I tie it into my godmother, who still says to this day she sees me as a CEO or something. But this is me all that time as a child, knowing that I wanted to own my own business, or businesses, for, you know, to clarify that out. Businesses, I never knew exactly what I wanted to own outside of restaurant and maybe clothing and all that, but I never really understood until, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I had an entrepreneur who sold suits. He told me, you know, Larry, if you're going to do anything, stop working at these malls, man. Stop selling this jewelry, man. You know, if you're going to make it in this world, you want to make a living for yourself and have good money and just live a quality life, as far as business-wise, you're either selling something or you're making something.
Right.
And it hit me then. So since then, I didn't want to just be about selling something. It was just recently when I was speaking to James Cannon, who, again, got me started with this. And he told me, he was like, hey, I got this podcast that I'm doing for the Cannon Media Group. What I'm looking for is this, and this. And what happened? Here it is. He told me to do this, 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 and this, and I go and add, things that somebody that just kind of running me on to do for the show. He tells me do these steps, and you can do this and do that, and I did the this and that, right? But I go back and I'm looking now like, okay, you got to do things with a purpose. The podcast is excellent. You know what you want to do with film and all that. You know what you want to do with media. But the ultimate insight that I got for myself, even though I see I'm living in purpose in other areas of my life, but for this actual show, everything that I will be doing for this show, majority of it, let me correct myself, majority of it will be for the purpose of benefiting others. Starting off with our own community, to other communities out there and certain groups, certain types of people, ultimately to where it spreads and everybody's able to benefit something from this show. This has been revealed to me just through multiple signs, sources, down to even just Robert just a few weeks ago telling me, look, this is the direction that I feel we need to go. This is all new for us in general. I never really listened to podcasts. Always wanting to go film or more so like music and radio. But being able to do this has shown me that you could really affect a lot of people. And not even just in humor like I was doing in the past, but just doing things with a purpose, something that people can benefit from, like with just faith and walking in life right. This could help somebody who could, just crazy and, what they're doing, and they just hear something like, what, bingo, I needed to hear that. And that's the direction that I'm wanting to go with this actual show, especially on our Tuesdays and just this here. This is Lawrence Radio. When I have these different shows that come out, they'll be purpose-driven. And, I'm just thankful that I've been able to do this for the listeners, because this is me just being me.
Right.
This is Lawrence, the funny Lawrence. That's more Larry, but this is Lawrence right here. This is the mature guy. I have the humor and all that. That's for a certain group, and all my guys do too. But I'm able to portray different hats, but this is my main hat. So
right.
I'm really opening myself up and putting myself out there. But this show is going to gain a lot of listeners for the goals and the dreams that we all have here at Meeting of the Minds. We know that taking that first step is just saying, hey, you know what, let's do this podcast. We had the idea behind it of just the entertainment, but with entertainment comes purpose. The humor can have the purpose in it. So, Robert, I kind of, turned the tables a little bit and really got open and personal with this. But, go ahead, man. The floor is yours.
And that's what we really want our listeners to be able to expect from this, because there's so many options and there's so many different things, a lot of great things out there. But you're getting to see people actually starting to try to get into the thing that they're being called to do. This is what we're doing right now. We are attempting to walk in what we feel we've been called to do. I know personally for me, I know what it's like to try a whole bunch of different things. I've tried a lot of different things. And some things that were making, could make a lot of money or had a lot of prestige attached to it, all of it. But I'm telling you, there's nothing like finding the thing you feel like you've been called to do. There's just nothing like it. It's almost unexplainable. To be able to have a platform to be able to express what you're thinking and how you're approaching life and how you're approaching issues, and to recognize that there are problems, big problems, you know, in this world, but they're solvable as well. And we all want to, you know, be the one that turns on the light, but there's so many other things that need to happen in order for that to actually happen, you know. And I know that for all the guys here at Meaning of the Minds, you know, we're all just guys. You know, we're just guys, you know, just like everybody else, just trying to figure this whole thing out, you know, this thing called life. And you really just do have to take that first step. And that's the hardest. You know, they always say, the first million is always the hardest million to make. But after that, once you realize that you're very much capable of functioning at the level you see in your, you know, in your vision, in your spirit. I know that in order for you really to be able to step out on your purpose, is going to take a lot of courage. It's taken a lot of courage to do this. It's taken a lot of, you know, effort and thought into this, because you're not just doing something because you can't do anything else. You're saying, I really do believe that this is what I've been given to be able to give to the world. You know, for me, I realize that in my own experiences that there's so many times I've gotten opportunities and gotten open doors and just wasted them. You know, just flat out wasted them, you know, and it wasn't because I was a bad guy, you know, and I don't care who you are. There's nothing more discouraging than knowing you've wasted an opportunity. Couldn't figure out why, because I felt like I was doing all the right things and doing, you know, going all the right places and, you know, saying all the right things, but still wasn't hitting it, you know, and I was just like, man. And then this little, you know, thought that was in the back of my mind that just kept saying, you know what you're called to do, you know what you should be doing right now, you know, and then I had to, you know, let's think about purpose, because you fight it a lot, because you're like, but what about this and what about that, and, you know, are people actually going to like it, are people going to want to listen to what we have to say, all of those things are just a part of it, you know, but you come to the realization that it's like, what, you know, I can stand trying and just failing, because I know that's just a part of life, and everything you do might not work. But to not even try, to not even attempt to step out on what you're really passionate about, what you really feel like can really help people, you know, that's what's going to kill you. That's what's going to make you bitter. And for me personally, I know that in order for me to know that I've done everything I can do to make this life opportunity, you know, and take it for the best it can be, I know I need to step out. There was just came a time when you were only going to get so much certainty, you're only going to get so much, you know, clarity, where you knew that it was just going to have to take a leap of faith. You know, I know that sounds cliche, but there will come a time when you just have to say enough is enough. I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to do what I'm passionate about. I'm going to do what I really care about. And you just got to do it. And so, like Larry's talking about, you know, we have this opportunity to allow you guys to look in on what it's like trying to attempt to grow something, and what it looks like and what it sounds like, and all of the different things that are going to come along with it. And you can come along for the ride, because we're really just trying to do something here and show everybody that, like, look, it's possible. You can do it. We're not talking about people who've already made it and are on the other side of success and bigly and saying, oh, yeah, I mean, you know, I used to hate hearing, like, you know, all the people who are, you know, multimillionaires already talking about just do it. Like, well, thanks, you know what I mean? But you already made it, you know, but, who are the normal people trying to do it? Who are the people just like me who are like, yeah, I was just, doing the same thing you were doing today. But tonight I chose to do something that I felt like I was called to do. And whatever it goes, it goes. But I'm doing what I feel like I'm called to do right now. I'm doing what I feel like my purpose is, because 99% of the time when I was missing the mark, it wasn't because the opportunity wasn't right. It wasn't because I wasn't necessarily, something wrong with me. It was just I wasn't looking at it correctly. I didn't have the right perception. And I realized that so many times people are coming to situations and all of these circumstances and have all of these things happen. And the reason why it's not working is not because of anything external. It's just not looking at it the right way. Your perception's off. And if I can help give people a better perception of their circumstances or their situations, they realize a lot of things don't really have to change. That most of the time you have exactly what you need and you're exactly where you need to be. But I know that because of this opportunity, I finally have an opportunity to say that. And hopefully people will get that. Like you said, it's not about trying to get you to do something or you should be doing this or doing that. It's you're already going a certain direction. You already have that nudge of where you want to be, where you want to go. And if I could help give you a thought, give you a piece of information, give you a different way of looking at it that will help you get there to where you're trying to go, or help you find or reveal something that you're trying to figure out, then I feel like I've done my job and I can sleep well at night.
And, one thing I like that you mentioned was, when you walk in, when you start doing your purpose, you might have to, I think you said something about separating yourself and say, I feel like I got to do this purpose. You said something along those lines, correct?
Right.
And I want to really talk about even distractions that might, people, I'm going to rewind this. Some of you guys might have, or all of us come from different backgrounds. I might have somebody, or we might, have somebody listening right now who, let's say, came from, let's say you're a foster child, or hey, you know what, your parents are divorced, or you may not have your parents, or hey, you were beaten. I don't care what it is. We all come from different backgrounds, but I really want to help anybody and everybody from all of us come from these different backgrounds and understand when you hit that point where you need to step out in faith and do your purpose, or when you're taking those initial steps, those first few steps to walk in your purpose, those distractions are always going to be there,
right.
Even as you progress down the road. And some of those distractions include just, the current situation that you're in, no matter what it is. It could be a combination of prior experiences that you had that put you in your current situation, and now you're just, against the wall, needing to do this. Or you could be heading in the path of being against the wall and needing to step forward. But you're going to face criticism. I always said you don't want anybody to steal your dream, and I call them dream killers. Is when you say that you want to do something and somebody says, oh, you can't do this because you're too tall, you're too short, you're too fat, you're too skinny, you're too dark, you're too light. They come up with different reasons why you can't do something, but they didn't birth you with that dream. They didn't birth you with your calling. They didn't birth your purpose. You were born with that purpose. So when you have somebody giving you criticism or self-doubt or just anything, remember that you're walking in your purpose. It's what gives you the gratitude and just the great that fulfillment that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. So I faced distractions in the past where I'll just give basketball for an example. I'm a tall guy, but I'm pretty thin. I'm thin. I have the muscle now when I want to put it on, but I just have a different physique. But I can jump out the gym. I can bang with the big guys. I just have a smaller frame. I'm strong, but I always have had people tell me, you're too skinny. Oh, man, you're just scrawny. And then you beat them with your talent. You beat them with your heart. And when you beat somebody with heart, It's you knowing that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. It's coming from the heart, which means you're playing out that purpose. So in general, like, I face criticism even now, like, oh, man, you're doing the show? Oh, you should do this. Oh, that's not going to work. You should do that. I'm like, you know what? If I'm not asking you for the feedback, I mean, if you're not a part of the show, you're not putting in the time, I don't want your feedback. I don't want to hear your feedback. And that's not me, talking down to anybody that wants to give me, feedback in the future. But in general, I'm walking in my purpose, and it's going to reveal itself out to me. I'll perfect my own craft. And if we have you join in, you can perfect that craft with us. You invest your time with us. You invest being with us being around with us. But outside of that, you're going to face that actual, criticism or the critiquing or just the overall distractions. Suggestions are always great. Opinions are always great. Ideas are always great. But just remember that it's you. It's your purpose. It's those who were working on it with you, not the outsiders. If you dream of being a basketball player, look at some of the smallest NBA players out there have been some of the greatest. Some of them have had the most hops. Is what you've been born to go ahead and do, and the talent that you've been born with, the gift. The gift that you got to have a gift of gab of many different things. I mean, we all have gift of gab of just different talents, but just and different talents, but just I want to make sure people can just identify their purpose, man. Go ahead, Rob. I'm sorry. I'm wanting to go so many different ways with this right now.
Well, because it's just such great information. It really is. You really can't say enough about it. But like Larry said, it's going to take, you got to become comfortable with controversy. You really do, because someone is not going to agree with what you're trying to do. And so it really does take an inner fortitude, inner strength, and inner integrity to be able to stand in your space knowing that you're pursuing what you know is right for you. And when you're talking about identifying, like, once again, what you really feel like you're called to do, a lot of times it is progressive. It doesn't show up all on one day, And that's the great thing about having a relationship with God, because God walks you through all of these things because he knows exactly how to get you where you're trying to go and what's going to be required for you to be able to stand once you're trying to go. Because when you really think about it, people don't, a lot of the celebrities you're seeing, like committing suicide and, drugs, that true Hollywood story type of thing, these people aren't jumping on bridges in failure. They're doing it after they get the success. They're doing it after they get to where they're trying to go. You figure once they've gotten the fame, they've gotten all of those, acumens and things that they're able to acquire, that everything would be good. But all the people that you see, hating life are not hating life when they don't have anything. They're not killing themselves when they don't have anything. They're doing it once they get there. And so a lot of the times you maybe have to be prepared for what you're trying to do. You might see it, but if you try to come into it too quickly, that could be just as damaging. So the one thing I can say about purpose is that respect the process, because it is a process. You gotta walk it out. It's the journey. It's everything you learn along the way. And if you feel like you're called to sing, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be recording albums. You might end up writing for somebody. You might end up choreographing, or there's so many different things that can come out of this. I don't want you to look at purpose in terms of the details as in a particular job, because purpose is something you cannot be fired from. I don't care what you do to Tiger Woods, you're never going to fire him You know, you're never going to fire Tiger Woods. He's going to be doing that until the day he dies on some way, on some level, because it's just what he's called to do, you know. And that's what you have to look at, you know, within yourself, is that purpose isn't in a particular job. You know, purpose is work, and there's a difference. A job is something you can be fired from. A job is something you go to every day, and they pay you for particular tasks. But your work, that's something you can do anywhere, anytime, and it should be able to expand all across different races and nationalities and cultures. Because your purpose, your work, is something that you do every day on some level, and you probably don't even recognize it. You know, the singers, you know, I know preachers who, you know, they preach in the shower. You know, they preach just walking to school. I mean, I guarantee you, whatever it is you're called to do, you're doing something of it on some level every day because you're just so drawn to it. It's so natural for you that you don't even think about it, because you would never think that that would be actually be something you'd be called to do. Because we're so inundated with the idea that you can't enjoy your work, you know, and we think the people that do are just lucky. No, it doesn't work that way. You know, if I'm God, why would I create you to do something that you don't want to do? You know, I want you to care about what you're doing, because that's when you're going to put all your effort into it. That's what you're going to put all your time into and your resources. And that's what you really got to find out. And like I'm saying, it starts small. Well, what are you doing throughout the day that you know you do something every day regardless of where you're at? Because it really is that natural. That's a lot of people, I think, miss it because they're always looking for something big. And purpose can lead you to big things. It can lead you to spotlight. It could lead you to all of those things. But at the end of the day, your purpose might take you to a lot of different jobs. And you might have a lot of different roles to play, but the main thing should still stay the main thing. And so you got to find out what that main thing is for you. If it's helping people, then you can do that in a lot of different ways, detail-wise. But at the end of the day, it's still the same thing. And you got to look within yourself, and you got to look within, you know, your natural everyday routines and see what am I naturally drawn to and attracted to, you know, regardless of the situation, regardless of the circumstances. Because usually when things go bad, you usually turn to that thing. You know, when you're in trouble, you usually turn to that thing. You know, I remember hearing Bernie Mac's story. And he said he got into comedy because, you know, he used to come home all the time and his mother would be crying, you know, because of something, and he would tell her jokes to cheer her up. And so, you know, you would never think that that's how purpose, you know, everyone thinks purpose happens in some, like, you know, heavenly way and it's all glorious. No, sometimes, a lot of times it's birthed out of your pain. It's birthed out of the everyday struggle that you got to turn to this thing to help get you through particular circumstances and situations. So that's what I'm saying. Like, look at your everyday routine. Look at your natural thoughts. What are you consistently thinking about? Because, I mean, it could be a husband or a wife. You know, if you're wanting a man, a lot of times because maybe you just feel like you're born to be a wife. Like, if you were just given the opportunity to be someone's wife and to have someone love you, that you would just do, because a lot of times, most likely, you were rejected in that area a lot. A lot of times, purpose, to build passion, you get rejected a lot. And so people start losing faith in it because they think, well, how can I want this so bad, but yet it seems like I keep having, you know, a blocked door, you know, every time I try to pursue it. It's like, no, because it's just building up that being of you. And you got to recognize that. Like I said, this thing is going to require you to have to think a little bit. And it's going to require you to have to do some soul searching and some self-searching, because it's not necessarily screaming out loud at you, but I promise you it's there.
So getting into the whole daily routine, I'm big on providing a visual, and I say this every show. So if you can picture yourself right now, even myself, I'll use myself in this example. I may reflect on my day yesterday and just say, you know what? I woke up, ate, went to work, came home, went to the gym, showered, ate, whatever, had my meals in between there, slept. If I go back and see what I did throughout the day, if I reflected, like, hey, did you actually do something today to help somebody out? Did you really even put any type of thought into planning for any type of help in the future for anybody else? What type of, purposeful, thinking have you done? It's easy for me to get up every day and not even do something like that, looking back on it. It's easy to get up and just go throughout your day, go to sleep, and just live in the sway of the world.
Right.
The world's turning. We get up. The way the system is set up is for us to get up, go to work, go to sleep. In between there's things there, but it's the people that can find their purpose in life that can help influence others to break off that actual system and create more of the awareness of not just the problems we face in this actual millennium, but the problems that our next generation is going to face because of the sway left, right of the world. The world's just swaying. Everybody's just doing the same exact thing. And that's the awareness that I'm wanting to go ahead and raise, and the awareness I want to go ahead and raise, but also just not say combat, but to add another dimension into this world for those who need the influence and the inspiration, or just the role model. That's my purpose for this actual show in my life at this point now.
Right. And for me, that's what it is. That's what it is for me as well. And the uniqueness of my purpose for this show is to be able to present a different way of maybe thinking about what you've always thought about, the exact same way. There's so many different ways to go about life, and I'm not going to tell you which one is right or which one is wrong. It's not something that I don't think anybody can give you. But when you look throughout your life, I guarantee you the best moment of your life is when you felt like you were truly doing something that fit who you really were at your core. And I believe if you're able to function from that place all the time instead of visiting it periodically, how much more could you get done? How much more fulfilling would your life be? And this show for me is an opportunity to ask these questions of, is it really like that? Is it really as it seems? Are you sure that this is the only option for you? Because to me, if you don't ask those questions, then, the world has a road for you to walk. It's the whole American dream / wife, 2.5 kids, 2-bedroom house, 3-bedroom house, get a job, retire, die. So, there's a natural road if you want that. But if you're somebody right now who just has that sense that there's got to be something more, there's got to be something else, there's got to be more than this. It can't just be like this. I have breath in my lungs. I know I'm a capable person. I know there's something in me, but I need somebody to help get this out because nobody's talking on my level. No one's talking about this. And I'm trying to function in my life, but there's something inside of me that keeps trying to get out. I keep thinking all of these thoughts that are so far beyond me that, I can't even talk to my own closest people about. And this is what this show is for to me, To me, it's an opportunity to create that space, that forum for people to come and be able to get these things off their chest and be like, oh, somebody else is thinking about something else other than, Kim Kardashian. Someone's thinking about something else other than just, get up, go to work, get fired from that job, find another job, pay the. I mean, I believe life can be more than that, and if you're believing life can be more than that too, this is the show for you, because this is where we ask those questions. This is where we start diving into these ideas and concepts that we've always just assumed would be, or always just, agreed with and just, took it as gospel. But I want to provoke thought, and you're going to hear me say that a lot of times over a lot of different shows. It's just, for me, it's about provoking thought. I want you to think. If I can just get people to think a little bit more about the choices that they're making, then I believe the world will become a better place, and we won't be so trapped and so inundated by all this nonsense that we're hearing from the news and from all of these, different sources that are trying to tell you what to think. I want you to be able to make your own decisions and have peace with those decisions. And for me, that's really what I want this show to be about.
Well, perfect. And pretty much you listeners were able to really get a clear insight and just understanding of the purpose of meeting of the minds and the just the overall hearts of anybody you ever hear on this show, from myself to Robert to Mike to Chase, Jonah, Dan, whoever else I may be missing. I'm sorry, but you're included. And just going to go ahead and wrap up this show. We do have a show this actual Thursday at 8:30. That will be Chase, Dan, Jonah, and myself. And we will be discussing gender roles. Actually, let me rephrase that, or reword that. Modern-day gender roles, stereotypes, and just a couple of the social issues that you'll have to tune in and listen to. I just wanted to give you that Costco sample of what it is you'll be loving. So that will pretty much wrap up this episode. Robert, anything else you want to say before we close this one out?
I just want to say thanks, guys. Thanks for listening. Like I said, we always love your feedback. Like I said, check in on the show on Thursday. Those guys are getting some good stuff, trust me. Like I've overheard, trying to sneak it into their little meetings, and so they got some good stuff for you. We'll have another show, relationship, segment on Sunday at 8. The girls will be back, and we'll be discussing some interesting issues there too. So, we're trying to give it to you guys, and I hope you really take something from it, and hope you really enjoy it.
Perfect. And if you have the idea of being a part of the show, wanting to call in and be a guest, feel free to shoot me an email at thisislawrenceradio@gmail.com. You can also find me on Twitter at thisislawrence. There's an underscore, actually, on my Instagram with the same name, but at thisislawrence, Twitter, and then at underscore thisislawrence on Instagram. Search me on Facebook, Lawrence Garman, last name Garmon. Contact me. Let's get working, and let's make this something that will make a huge impact for everyone. We thank you for listening, and you guys have a great night.